Thank you, Minister Ellis, for that message. I'd like to introduce you now to Geraldine Doogue. Geraldine and I have been friends since primary school days. Geraldine has carved out a reputation in print and television media over the years. We all know her from Life Matters program and from Compass and from her days of bringing us the evening news. I'd like to thank her for joining us today.
Thank you, Sandra. And I was saying that I'm sitting here with this beautiful Canberra tree out in front of me. Canberra's looking terrific because they had such a lot of rain. Their dams are completely full, so it's great. It's just fantastic to be here. I really can't tell you how excited I am, actually. It's 100 years of International Women's Day is really something to celebrate, and sometimes, you know, at times like this, there's a great quality who fought for their communities, women who just really brought, you know, bravery, savvy, resilience, and nurturing on a massive scale. That's one of the things as I was thinking about today. You know, that question of nurturing, I don't think gets anything like the press it deserves. My own grandmother came here from Ireland as a single woman. She left the troubles behind, and she came and lived in Australia, very brave. She was only 19, I think, when she left County Kerry and came to Australia, met her husband here, and then bore 8 children in the goldfields of Western Australia. My own mother, full of gumption and drive, not particularly well educated, but a superb nurturer. And so we are products of Australia's past magnificent women, and I think today I feel quite thrilled in a way to be honouring them. But you know, maybe the best way we can honour them is to enjoy genuinely where we are. Maybe that makes all their various sacrifices worthwhile. I remember hearing the African-American writer James Baldwin say that about blacks, as he described it, that blacks were permitted to take part in the American dream, but not to enjoy it after civil rights. And it seems to me that, you know, that is what's on offer for us now, to enjoy genuinely the chance that we have to thrive and to stretch ourselves, maybe outside our comfort zones, because that's what all the best psychological researchers say, that is a prerequisite for serenity, that sense that you do step outside your comfort zone a bit, not necessarily too much, but there will be defeats as well as victories. No decent career, however you like to define that word, large scale or very low key, no decent career is a constant cavalcade of success. In fact, one of the things I want to suggest to you, and I'll be keen to hear what you think back about this, after 35 years of work, is that if you can't stand being mediocre, you know, that word that no one says, mediocre, at certain points in your career, if your pride can't bear the thought, then I'd warn you, you'd better settle for something very safe indeed, because whenever we're invited to take on something that terrifies us a bit outside our comfort zone, or maybe a lot outside our comfort zone, if you think about it, it's usually because we've impressed someone sufficiently in our existing role that they say, oh, she could really step up now to that next rung or that next role. That's a no-brainer. When inside you, inside your soul, you know that you will be very ordinary indeed for a while, if you're honest about it. And I just don't think there's any avoiding that, because in my view, you have to go back to build your skills up again and your judgment, and you can't really ignore it. It's a bit of an exposing interlude of time when you step up to something new. And I've seen people, women, really shrink, you know, really fold, because they suddenly realise, oh my God, I've gone back to the ruck. And frankly, they have. For a little while, they've gone right back into the ruck, and it takes some real internal ballast, I think, to hang in there and to stick at it and become good again. And in my experience, that real sense of where the heck am I lasts for about, say, 6 to 8 weeks, and then you start to gather yourself, and you develop your, because you're not coming from a completely low base. That's the point. You have been chosen because of the skills you represented. And I just think that needs to be said more to women. There's a great Germaine Greer line, actually, which seems appropriate on a day like today, to quote, "When all's said and done, when women finally get the key to the executive bathroom, all they discover inside is a lavatory." And some of us may say, yep, I know that, and I choose not to bother with the search for the lav. Now, I think it is worth the search, but I can see what she's saying. And I'll tell you this, I really do think it helps if you apply that great dictum, know thyself, which I saw written in the sandstone on my University of Western Australia library wall. And I heard a terrific version the other day from none other than Oscar Wilde. Be yourself, everyone else is taken, which I think is really terrific. And my version of that is that whole EQ, that whole emotional intelligence notion, the idea of naming your emotions and motives on the run when you're in the midst of your average day, or your demanding day in particular, and you're in the midst of challenge, not a long time afterwards when it's nice and safe. And I say this particularly to young women, and I get an amazing amount of feedback. Use the English language which is fantastic, to name your emotions. So don't just say, I'm stressed today, don't come near me. Actually ask yourself, what is it really that I am today? Am I envious? Am I exhausted? Am I heartbroken? Am I jealous? Am I embarrassed? You know, it's that naming the beast. I tell you, it's by magic. Even if the objective circumstances don't change in your demanding day, that business of naming your emotion, it just clears things truly like a bit of alchemy. I use it all the time. I really think it's a very important skill to get, because I've seen women's emotions. I love women's emotional life, but it can sink you. Now, there's another element here which I've gradually discovered as I age, and it's the need for a bit of performance and a little bit of spectacle that you've got to supply. And I think this is quite tricky for women who really prize authenticity, you know, not being bogus, not being full of bullshit, if you'll forgive my language, who really sort of wanted a a public conversation which was more real and more genuine. And maybe, you know, at base we all just get afraid we're not good at the jokes the way the blokes are. But Paul Keating, whatever you think of his politics, he had a great public, well, he had a demanding, charismatic public persona, even if you eventually came to hate it. But he had that great line, every now and again you have to flick the switch to vaudeville. And, you know, I think he is dead right. People have to do it in their own way. It might be flick the switch to rhetoric, or flick the switch to spectacle, or flick the switch to hope, you know, overtly expressed. But